What if I told you that no matter how much you love that selfish narcissist, they are still going to hate you to your core? No matter how much patience you show, he or she is still going to stay the same. Whether you marry them or have kids with them, they are not going to change. No matter how much you suppress your emotions, it is still not going to work out. And probably you know that. But you may not know that a narcissist has grass on the greener side syndrome. And because of that, they never settle. Nothing is enough. No achievement is satisfying. No experience is fulfilling. They always believe that something better, someone better is just waiting around the corner. Today, we are going to dissect the depths of this evil mindset. We will explore why a narcissist is caught in an endless cycle of chasing illusions and what that has to do with you. My name is Danish. I am a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. Welcome to my channel. Stay until the very end because this episode is going to give you a lot of clarity. Now, let's begin by understanding the narcissist's illusion of perfection. A narcissist is often restless. They believe that happiness and satisfaction lie elsewhere, beyond the current relationship, the current job or social circle. This is why they're always scanning for the next best thing, the next shining object. Their mind tells them if you find a better partner, a higher status job, a more glamorous friend group, everything will be perfect magically. You won't feel this emptiness anymore. But perfection does not exist, as you know. And the narcissist isn't really chasing better circumstances, let me tell you. They're running from themselves. They are escaping the deep void of dissatisfaction they carry inside, a void that no external achievement can fill. That is why I say narcissists are not intelligent. They seem to be so, but they're cunning and they lack even the basic intelligence, emotional intelligence. Which is why, in search of gold, they settle for coal, as narcissists think the next supply will fix them. But this is not their reality. It is totally an illusion. And then they settle for someone who is a downgraded version of you. Now, I'm not putting down the next source of supply. What I'm saying is, whenever a narcissist walks away from one relationship to another, they never go for a better one. They downgrade their supply. They settle for less. It's their delusion that they think they're going for the best. And when they go to a new supply, we normally think the narcissist is living their greatest, best, the most amazing life. No, they're not. The hidden truth about their life is that it becomes a series of escapes. That's what it is. Escaping from people who expose their flaws, escaping from situations that reveal their weaknesses, escaping from reality which does not conform to their fantasies. But the greatest escape is from their own false self, from the painful truth that their internal emptiness is the true source of their suffering. All I can say is that their life is their karma. I have said it so many times. Rather than face this, they prefer the fantasy, because in the fantasy, they are what? Flawless. In the fantasy, life is under their control. In the fantasy, they are not vulnerable or broken, but reality always finds a way in, doesn't it? And when it does, they feel wounded. They are exposed and left furious. So the cycle repeats ultimately. They idealize, devalue, discard, and what comes next for them? Escape. They are escapists. At first, the narcissist idealizes you. You are the answer to their fantasy. You are perfect in their eyes. You are the person who will finally fill their void and complete the image they have of an ideal life. And it feels intoxicating, like you have found something rare, something real. They shower you with attention, praise, and affection. It feels like a dream come true, but it is a dream built on illusion. Why so? Because you are a human being, which means you have flaws, you have needs, you have moments of vulnerability, and that's what they do not expect you to have. The moment those imperfections show, the narcissist's illusion cracks. The person that you are in reality does not match the idealized snapshot of yours they have captured in their head. which then ultimately leads to the development of cracks in their illusion. And you know one thing about narcissists, they do not like cracks at all. They have to hide it, they have to contain it well. They do not pause to reflect or repair. They do not try to understand or accept. They do not compromise. Instead, they begin to devalue. Subtly at first, little criticisms, small jabs that feel off but are easy to dismiss, moments of coldness, emotional distance, and eventually everything becomes more overt. Harsh comparisons, dismissive attitudes. Suddenly, you're no longer enough. And this is where the grass is greener syndrome actually kicks in. Narcissists have a deep-rooted fear of emotional discomfort. The moment a relationship demands vulnerability, accountability, or deeper emotional connection, they feel suffocated, choked. So they convince themselves that the problem isn't within them, it is you. Ultimate self-gaslighting. It is the relationship. It is the circumstances. They begin to fantasize that life would be better if only they were with someone else, if only they had a different job, if only their partner didn't expect so much. But all of that is a big lie. What they are really doing is running from the parts of themselves they do not want to confront. To them, a new person feels like a fresh start, someone who hasn't yet seen their flaws, someone who will admire them without expectation, someone they expect to act like a doormat. And that thinking pattern points out the real problem, which is their own inability to sit with discomfort, to build intimacy, or to handle the realities of a long-term relationship. Now you may wonder, why do they have to think grass is greener on the other side? Why can't they settle for what they have in their life? The problem is that the unknown is a lot easier to idealize. It is untouched, untested, and still perfect in their imagination, which is quite childish, to be honest. The moment reality creeps in, when flaws and challenges appear, the grass where they stand starts to look dry and lifeless. Not because it is, but because it demands something they fear the most. You know it very well what that is: vulnerability. You see, narcissists live in a terror of their own emptiness. Deep down, they feel profoundly unworthy and inadequate, but they can't face it. So they convince themselves that the reason they feel dissatisfied is because they have not yet found the right person, the right experience, the right life. They tell themselves, it's not me, it's my circumstances. I just need to keep looking. But the grass always looks greener when you are running away from yourself. The moment they start feeling exposed, when a partner sees beyond their charm, when success feels hollow, when emotional intimacy is required, they panic. They blame the relationship. They blame the situation, they blame the circumstances, and they convince themselves that somewhere out there is a greener grass, better people, more perfect circumstances, more perfect situations. But the ultimate wisdom they cannot face is that the grass isn't greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. That is what I want you to think about. Narcissists do not know how to nurture anything, so it remains lifeless. It grows dry. They do not know how to invest. They do not grow things, they burn them. They are dementors. They keep chasing illusions, believing that if they just start over somewhere new, it will all be perfect again. That is such a black and white way of living. Their life is a life of endless escapes. It's a curse that they live with. On the surface, living your life with the mindset of grass is greener on the other side. To the outside world, it looks like confidence, ambition, and refusal to settle. But the truth is, it's not freedom. It's a prison disguised as choice. Narcissists are trapped in an endless loop. They move from one partner to another, one person, one job to another, one dream to another, but every time the pattern repeats. The problem is them. They're the common denominator. The initial high, the rush of newness, the intoxication of the idealized fantasy, and then the crash, the same disappointment, the same emptiness, the same haunting need to escape, to chase yet another illusion. You and I both know they do not actually find better, they find different, and different feels exciting for a while. It gives them the illusion of progress, the illusion of change. But different isn't always the answer, neither is it better. Different is just unfamiliar, as I said. And when the newness fades, when reality settles in, they find themselves standing in the same place, which is empty, unsatisfied, and still aching with the void they so tried to outrun. In their desperate chase for better, they destroy what was already good. They burn bridges that did not need burning. They walk away from love that could have been nurtured, from stability that could have grounded them, from relationships that could have grown into something meaningful. Had they been brave enough to face their own demons, enough to stay. But they aren't brave, they're cowards. Staying means facing their own insecurities. It means accepting imperfections, both their own and others. It means giving up the fantasy and confronting reality, the very thing they fear most. So they run again and again, leaving behind a trail of broken people, lost opportunities, and the kind of love that only grows when watered, tended, and allowed to deepen over time. They have zero patience for any of this. Every time they move on, they believe the problem was the soil, never realizing it was their refusal to stay long enough to let anything grow deep within and without. That is the curse of the grass is greener syndrome. Not a life of freedom, but a life of endless escapes where nothing is ever enough because they are never enough for themselves. Now that you know you were not the problem, how are you processing things? Let me know in the comments and I will talk to you in the next one. Until then, as always, let the healing begin and continue.